Where do profits come from? A group of American neuroscientists at the University of Illinois, having studied dozens of results of brain research, has come to a sensational conclusion. Every 90 minutes our brain automatically enters an altered state of consciousness for a few seconds. From the outside it may seem that a person is thinking hard, looking at one point and far from what is going on around him. In fact, his mind at this second is connected to the information field of the universe, where signals from the past, present and future are heard simultaneously. Scientists have put forward a fantastic hypothesis: any person is capable of becoming a seer. British scientists explained that there are two ways of foresight. The first is based on life experience and logic. For example, clouds have thickened in the sky. And breathing is somehow easy, and in this situation it is not difficult to predict rain. The second way of foresight scientists call spontaneous. Richard Broughton, a specialist in studying the capabilities of the human brain, says that any information is recorded in the universe in the form of waves of different frequencies, and a person works simultaneously as a transmitter and receiver. People give their thoughts and energy to the cosmos, but at the same time their eardrums catch sound vibrations. And the brain, streams of information from different points of space and time. In his opinion, the ability of people to memorize a huge amount of information appeared in the process of evolution due to an incredible amount of memory. However, memory doesn't just exist so that we can store memories. The main purpose of memory is the ability to travel into the future. It is this fact that makes humans one of the most successful species on the planet. Since the brain's ability to automatically tune into cosmic waves manifests itself every 90 minutes, regardless of sleep or wakefulness, any of us can potentially anticipate climate change, upcoming wars, epidemics, and even predict our own fate with high accuracy. But that's just the potential. In reality, less than 1% of the Earth's inhabitants possess this phenomenal ability. But what about the others? Scientists believe that there must be certain reasons that contribute to the emergence of the gift of the seer. For example, clinical death or a strong shock. The famous inventor Nikola Tesla as a child almost drowned in a river, and then survived the tragic death of his brother. It was after that he learned to enter a trance state and fly to other planets, where, according to him, he drew information for discoveries and received schemes of his devices. Modern Moscow clairvoyant Nadezhda Bossa, who helped the police catch a maniacal killer, has a hereditary gift passed down to her from her mother and grandmother. However, she pays for this gift with her health. Nadezhda has had several heart attacks and more than one clinical death. According to her, after each recovery she feels that she has risen one more step in her knowledge of the multidimensional world around her. She also claims that after she begins to mentally enter the victim's body, she has to endure incredible physical pain and hellish mental anguish. The hereditary factor is also important in the formation of the gift of foresight. For example, ancestral shamans have a special power. Unlike newcomers who have devoted themselves to magical rituals. According to researchers, the shaman is a person living in symbiosis with spirits, with ethereal entities that have much greater capabilities than a person. Thanks to their help, the shaman can penetrate into spaces inaccessible to other people. Hereditary shamans do not need to re-enter into contact with these entities, because for them the first time it was already done by their grandparents. In the system of predictions there is always a spirit, some otherworldly essence of non-human nature, and a man is used only as a medium through which this essence broadcasts. This is because human capabilities to penetrate into the distant layers of the past and the future are not enough. A descendant shaman is able not to eat, not to drink, not to sleep for several days, he only sings and dances. But behind all this seeming fun lies communication with parallel worlds in a state of ecstasy to obtain important information. Of course, the question arises, how can information from the future get to the present? The answer to this question must surely be given by physicists. But it cannot be explained by the ability to contemplate the future alone. There must be a signal that carries information from the future to the past. At first glance, it is difficult to understand the phenomenon of clairvoyance because it defies any logical explanation. During numerous experiments, researchers have noticed that most of the seers used different extraneous objects. For example, Bulgarian clairvoyant Vanga often predicted the future using small pieces of sugar that visitors brought her. She said that sugar absorbs information about a person and gives an opportunity to see the past, present and future of those who come to her for advice. Great diviners of antiquity often looked at water, hot wax, coffee grounds, quartz, rubies, crystal or ordinary mirrors in moments of searching for the truth. The famous Swiss physician Paracelsus, who lived in the first half of the 16th century, became famous not only for his medicinal abilities, but also for writing a book called Oracles. In it, the scientist gave predictions for 520 years ahead, noting the major milestones of each subsequent century. Here is one of them: in France, the Valois dynasty will fall, the Bourbon dynasty will come to power. The latter will be overthrown exactly 200 years after it seized power. Indeed, in 1589 King Henry IV of Navarre came to power, and exactly 200 years later, in 1789, the ruling dynasty was overthrown as a result of the Great French Revolution. And another: in the future, the republican and democratic forms of government will triumph in all the states of Europe. And here Paracelsus was right. A state will arise on the other side of the ocean. Isn't this about the formation of the USA? China will rise. And this we are witnessing with our own eyes today. Paracelsus predicted the emergence of Hitler, and also touched on the future of Russia. There is a people that Herodotus called Hyperboreans. The present name of this people is Muscovia. Their terrible decline, which will last for many centuries, cannot be trusted. The Hyperboreans will know both a great decline and a great blossoming. They will have 3 falls and 3 exaltations, and in the end the great cross will shine over the humiliated and rejected. According to the forecasts of Paracelsus, the Golden Age in Russia will come 520 years after his death, that is, in 2061. What were the tools of Paracelsus' providence? According to eyewitnesses, before writing each prophecy Paracelsus put a vessel of water in front of him and wooden sticks stirred the liquid for a long time, gazing intently into the whirlpool. Could this procedure somehow help to make such bold and accurate predictions? According to modern researchers, we are talking about so-called chaotic systems. On a domestic level, this could be a mill maelstrom where water rotates. In A. Tolstoy's novel, Prince Silver, tells how the main character sees his future in a whirlpool. It was popular among the ancient Slavs to pour molten wax into salted water, and when a person concentrated, the figures formed some images.